Piquet or Arnoux. Here today at Kyalami, 6,000 feet up in the African Transvaal, one of these men will become world champion at the last Grand Prix of the year. For after 14 Grand Prix in North America, South America and Europe, only 8 points separate the first and third men, Alain Prost and René Arnoux, ex-teammates, bitter rivals, and both determined to become the first ever French world champion. But a much greater danger to Prost than Arnoux is his friend Nelson Piquet, the 1981 world champion, and he's a mere 2 points behind Prost in second place. With the reward so high, all three will be driving to win. But with every one of the 26 competitors out to prove something for 1984, so will everyone else. And in one of the most hotly contested Grand Prix for years, there's some 15 potential winners here today. The Constructors' Championship will be decided today too, for although Ferrari with an 11 points lead over Renault are favourites, the French concern could win and are desperately anxious to do so. So, with everything to gain or lose, the front men on the starting grid after 2 hot days of qualifying are Patrick Tambay in pole position alongside Nelson Piquet, with Patrese and Arnoux in row 2 and Prost and Rosberg in row 3 ahead of Mansell and Winkelhock. Derek Warwick is 13th, John Watson 15th, and Kenny Atchison qualified well at 24th. There, pole position man, Patrick Tambay, third pole position in his life. This is his last race for Ferrari. He means to win. Thumbs up from Nelson Piquet, second on the grid in his turbocharged Brabham BMW car, with which he is very happy today, and was third fastest in the warm-up behind his teammate Riccardo Patrese, who is third on the grid. Rumours of him leaving Brabham in 1984, and he means to drive well today to preserve his place. In fourth position, there, René Arnoux, the dark horse for the World Championship, third with 49 points. He must win to become world champion. He could do it. And that is the man who is leading the World Championship and must win here today, Alain Prost, fifth on the grid in his turbocharged Renault, and if he wins the World Championship, it could mean that Renault too are in a very strong position to win the Constructors' World Championship. And there, the 1982 World Champion, he is World Champion for just a few more hours, Keke Rosberg, because he's going to be supplanted by the new 1983 World Champion after this race. There you see the lights. When you see the red come on for the last Grand Prix of 1983, it will be followed not more than 7 seconds later by the green, and then it is go for 100. There's the green, and away and out to the right goes Nigel Mansell. Piquet takes the lead. Patrese moves ahead of Tambay as they go down into Crowthorne, and already the two Brabhams are leading. It's Piquet, Patrese, De Angelis going through and trying to take Tambay with Prost well up there. Alain Prost, the World Championship leader, it's Piquet, Patrese, Tambay, De Angelis. There is Prost, and behind Prost is his teammate Eddie Cheever, and Nelson Piquet told me yesterday he was going to go hard for the first 10 laps, see how his tyres lasted, and this is very interesting because the Brabham team now are leading this race. Is Riccardo Patrese going to make things difficult for the rest behind him to get past him as De Angelis harries Tambay and enable Piquet to break away?
Yes, Tambay went a little bit wide there into the left-hander. He held his place, but he slowed the others up, and he's got the Cesaris climbing all over the back of him at the moment.
Who's got Prost behind him, and there is Keke Rosberg after that lightning engine change as they come now out of the kink. Now they're doing 180 miles an hour, building up to 200 at the end of lap 1, and it's Nelson Piquet leading. Then Riccardo Patrese. De Angelis is taking Tambay. Prost is right behind him. Then it is Rosberg and Arnoux down to Crowthorne. Piquet.
Yes, the Cesaris got past the Ferrari there, and so did Alain Prost. But at the moment, and it looks like we've had an incident. The marshals were on the move there. There's yellow flags, but the cameras, unfortunately, aren't in the right place. But Piquet has really extended an enormous lead at the end of the first lap. I think Tambay was holding the others up a little bit. They're now through and clear, and it gave the Brabhams a big breathing space, which is a huge advantage at the beginning of a race, and very, very important to get you settled down comfortably. Piquet doesn't have to panic. He's got a clear road in front of him, and he's all on his own.
2.6 seconds was the lead for Nelson Piquet at the end of that lap. We still haven't seen who it was, if anybody, who went off. Alain Prost is closing up. There is De Cesaris. And here we will now be able, with hope, to identify as René Arnoux goes through, and off goes, it looks like Jacques Lafitte. It is, it's Jacques Lafitte in the Williams Honda. So lap 2, Jacques Lafitte is out. Giancarlo Ghinzani went out with an engine problem. You know Jacques Lafitte has spun off. And into the pits now comes Elio De Angelis, the Italian team leader, and it looks as though they're going to change tyres and wheels already anyway as the fuel goes in. Now this is totally unexpected. Elio De Angelis was not meant to come in until much later in the race.
Yes, I think it is a tyre problem, Murray. I spoke to him before the race and he said, oh, the tyres the last 10 or 12 laps, and they haven't even made it that far. So I think they expected a lot of tyre trouble.
And meantime, you probably saw in the background that Niki Lauda has climbed up through the field. He is now in 6th position and right on the tail of Patrick Tambay. So, on lap 8 out of 77, Nelson Piquet has a 6-second lead over his teammate Riccardo Patrese. In 3rd place is Andre De Cesaris, followed by Alain Prost 4th. 5th and 6th and absolutely together, Patrick Tambay and Niki Lauda. 7th is Rosberg, 8th is Arnoux, 9th is Cheever, and 10th is Derek Warwick. 11th is Mansell, and 12th is John Watson. All the British drivers together, and lap 9 now in a 77-lap race, so there's a long way to go. And Tambay there, you can see right behind him is Niki Lauda, and Niki Lauda's coming through and taking the Ferrari as they go down into Crowthorne. And they are closing up on De Cesaris and Prost.
Yes, Prost looked as if he was trying to get round the outside of De Cesaris then. We didn't see him if he managed to, because we were watching Lauda coming past Tambay, but Lauda is undoubtedly the man to watch at the moment as far as the race is concerned. But of course, Prost, it would be really interesting to see if Prost can pass De Cesaris, just how he can go in relation to Nelson Piquet, who meanwhile, while the others are tripping over each other, metaphorically speaking, is taking advantage of that and pulling out a very commanding lead.
We are on lap 9 out of 77, and you can see how Niki Lauda is pulling away from Patrick Tambay, who is now in 6th position, and closing up on Alain Prost. Now, the reason for that is that Lauda's had some new springs fitted on the front, and the car is handling absolutely superbly. And see him now, right with De Cesaris.
And yes, and Prost has got De Cesaris at last. So now we will get a chance to see just what Alain Prost can do in defence of his current World Championship lead, which must look a little bit forlorn for him at the moment, as Piquet has disappeared into a very substantial 10-second or more lead. However, Prost has now got a clear road and will be trying to do something about that.
Arnoux is in trouble. René Arnoux has shot his bolt. Whatever's the trouble, you can see the way the DFV-powered cars are surging past him. Sura has gone past him. The Ligier has gone past him. There is Danny Sullivan, who has gone past. And into the pits is coming René Arnoux, surely not for a routine stop. And meantime, Nelson Piquet is now 10 seconds ahead of Riccardo Patrese. There is the John Player Special Lotus still in the pits. Elio De Angelis has been there for a long, long time now. I don't know whether, well, it's obviously something other than tyres. Piquet down into Crowthorne. He's got an enormous lead now. The lead over Patrese is 12 seconds. And Patrese is leading Prost by 3.7 seconds. So now, lap 12 out of 77, Nelson Piquet is in 1st place, Patrese is 2nd, Prost is 3rd, De Cesaris 4th, Lauda 5th, and Tambay 6th.
And Lauda's just adjusted that. He's just passed De Cesaris into Crowthorne. The car is fast on the straight. He was able to get in the slipstream behind De Cesaris. So now Niki Lauda up into 4th place and not very far behind Alain Prost, who likewise is not too far behind Riccardo Patrese. Meanwhile, Nelson Piquet, looking for his 2nd World Championship in what hasn't been a very long career yet, driving absolutely superbly, has a very big lead. But the quick men in form of Lauda and Prost are still there, and they're not down yet.
And as I talk to you, Nigel Mansell, who was well up, is gone into the pits. So it looks as though there is some problem with the John Player Special Lotus cars, because De Angelis has gone into the pits and now has been joined by Nigel Mansell, who was in 13th position, 12th position. And Michele Alboreto has therefore moved up. Lap 18, race leader, Nelson Piquet. There he goes. And in second place now, 20 seconds behind him, Riccardo Patrese is dropping back all the time. Niki Lauda is in third position on lap 18. This is a sensational development. Niki Lauda, who only in terms of the grid started, I'm just looking at my grid list, in 12th position. I told you he was fastest in the warm-up. You could see the crowd urging him on. And Lauda has come up from 12th through the field, and as James said, picked them off one by one, and he's now really doing Alain Prost's World Championship chances no good at all.
But a lot's going to depend on their pit stops. Brabham's have probably the best record of pit stops now. They're climbing all over the back of him in the twisty section, but Patrese's got this definite advantage in straight line speed when they come onto the long straight. And Lauda's going to, well, he's going to hope it's resolved by pit stops. And Nelson Piquet into the pit.
And I've got the stopwatch running. This is the race leader, and it's conceivable that he's going to get out of the pits well in the lead, having stopped to refuel. And this looks like a sensationally fast pit stop. That is the fastest ever. That's 9.2 seconds, and I suspect it was even quicker than that. It's the quickest we've ever had. This is over the crest, 200 miles an hour, down to Crowthorne, into third gear. Now, stay in third. Patrese, Lauda, Prost still in sight behind them, about 4 seconds, I would say, visually. Now they're into the Yook Sky sweep, this very fast fifth gear. And when I say very fast, I mean about 180 miles an hour. Patrese, Lauda, now down to Sunset Bend, the right-hander. This Kyle Army circuit is built on a hillside. They're at the lowest part of the circuit now. They go into Clubhouse now, then into the S's, this little short straight, the third gear S's, the left now, then the right, then it starts to climb up to Leocop. And when they come out of Leocop, which they're approaching now, which is a second gear bend, which they take at about 115 miles an hour, they will accelerate up through the box into the kink, the right-hander, which doesn't actually slow them down at all, as you see Nigel Mansell coming into the pits in the background, and they're now onto the fastest part of the course. And it's
Lauda coming in. Yes, he'll be well pleased and well relieved to get in, and now it's a straight battle between the Brabham team and the McLaren team when Patrese gets in, because they will want to get Lauda out in such a way that he gets away, that he's ahead of Patrese on the road after the stop, because he's having great problems, very fast. Oh dear, we've got a problem, the right rear wheel, and that rear wheel was jammed on Niki Lauda's car, and what bad luck. This is something that can happen. The metal on the hub and the metal on the wheel is found at different rates, and it has in fact surprised me that it hasn't happened more often during pit stops. So very, very slow stop for Niki Lauda, and a bit of a tragedy, but he's quick enough to make up the difference with Patrese, whether he can pass him or not. But of course that means Piquet is now in an almost totally secure lead as far as the race is concerned. So Piquet's battle now, in order to win the championship, is purely keeping everything together, keeping the car together, keeping himself comfortable physically, which he certainly will do. He's well experienced enough for that. He now, as I say, just has to look after his car and nurse it to the finish.
And the race order, as we watch the Austrian on lap 35 coming up to complete it, is Piquet leading, Patrese second. Into the pits comes Alain Prost, and Alain Prost was on the previous lap in third position, having passed Niki Lauda when he was stuck in the pits. Now this is the most important pit stop of 1983, bar none, because Alain Prost was leading the World Championship when this race began. His target is 8.6 seconds, and it has already been passed. It's a slow pit stop, and out gets Prost. Sensation, Alain Prost, the world champion designate when this race began. gets out of his Renault and retires from the South African Grand Prix on lap 35, having completed it. Bitter goal for Prost. He is destined not to be the first ever French world champion, as René Arnoux, who started the World Championship in third place, was destined not to be the first ever French world champion, and that means that Nelson Piquet is indeed well on his way to his second world championship. Lap 45 out of 77 in the South African Grand Prix, the last of the year, still commanding it massively from the front. Nelson Piquet on his way to his fourth Grand Prix victory of 1983 and his third in succession. Patrese in second place. The man you are looking at, Patrick Tambay, in the Ferrari, has climbed up through the field and is in third position. Niki Lauda has been into the pits, made a very, very bad pit stop because his right rear wheel stuck on, and it took some 23 seconds. Into the pits comes Tambay. Now this is going to change things. It means that Niki Lauda will go up into third position as the Frenchman in his last Grand Prix for Ferrari sits impassively there. His mechanics are totally dedicated to them, and Patrick gave a $3,000 check that he won for pole position to his mechanics last night, and last out of the pits, some 12 seconds for his pit stop. And so now we have Piquet, who has stopped, Patrese in second position, Tambay, who've just seen stop and will now drop down to fourth place, and fifth place because he's behind De Cesaris.
Yes, Tambay just failed to make it out of the pits in time to be in front of De Cesaris. Remember, he's on cold tires. He had to fight into the corner, because if he got through it in front of him, he could have maybe held De Cesaris up for the twisty section of the lap while he warmed up his tires. But he's now faced with the problem, and there is Riccardo Patrese now in, see if Brabhams can repeat their stunning performance that they did on Nelson Piquet's pit stop. They're at it again. Look at that. Well, that's not as good as Piquet's, but it's still the second quickest stop we've seen, and amazing work by the Brabham mechanics. They must put in hours of practice doing this, and a lot of thought to the fuel system. Remember, it's technically pretty difficult to physically get 35 or so gallons of petrol into a car in a matter of 8 or 9 seconds. If you think about it, when you go into the garage and put in 10 gallons in your own car, it takes about 3 or 4 minutes or more.
Patrick Tambay's race is run, and we look now at Keke Rosberg with Chiva. Now, Chiva is in 7th position, and Rosberg is taking him. Keke Rosberg in his first race in the Williams with the turbocharged Honda engine, and these two have gone together perfectly, the Honda engine and the Williams chassis designed by Patrick Head, and indeed they are really calling themselves the Williams Honda team, with good reason, because I've seldom seen a partnership start and develop so well and so quickly as the Williams team working with Honda. And Keke Rosberg, still world champion, don't forget, for the next few laps anyway, until this race finishes, is absolutely reveling in the turbo power of that Honda engine, pulling away from Chiva. And on lap 56 now, it is Piquet, it is Patrese in second place, Lauda is in third position. Bruno Giacomelli in the Tolman, the reliability record has been broken. It looks as though the Holset turbocharger, which had given them so much reliability, has on this occasion broken, and Bruno Giacomelli is out of the race. I wish not to make sensation that isn't there, with the flames licking at the back of Bruno Giacomelli's car. He's very aware of it. I think he's undone his safety belts already. He's looking in his mirrors. The Tolman is going to catch fire. He's going to stop right by a marshal's post, and Bruno Giacomelli goes off course, and I can see the flames through the smoke at the back, but I think they've subsided, and Bruno Giacomelli out. That's good marshalling. Straight onto it with the fire extinguisher goes the South African marshal. Bruno Giacomelli superintending things, and that's making it very difficult, of course, for the cars that are following, because there is that solid cloud of white smoke through which Patrese exits. And who is that behind him? It is Niki Lauda, and what we must see now is where is this? This is Patrese, and it takes right with, yes, Patrese right with Nelson Piquet. I suspect we're going to see a change of lead because Patrese, we've seen a change of lead. Patrese leads the South African Grand Prix on lap 61. Piquet either because he is in trouble, and I'm not discounting the fact that he is in trouble because we don't know, or because he is exhibiting the most incredible will and willing himself to win the World Championship without winning the South African Grand Prix, is now in second place. And I must say I am not at all happy about this situation from Piquet's point of view. I could well be wrong though. Anyway, Riccardo Patrese, who won at Monaco last year, looks as though he could win at Kyle Armies this year.
Yeah, we can't tell from here, Murray, of course, but my money is definitely on the fact that Nelson Piquet is operating some ion discipline, has turned the boost on his turbocharger right down to protect the engine, and is prepared not only to give away the lead, but also, well, of course, the win is the only thing that's important immediately, but to give away second place because Lauda, of course, is not far behind. And so, there is Lauda in the background, just pulling out of Cheever's slipstream, and Lauda could still win the race because he's in striking distance, but he is not favourite because he couldn't pass Riccardo Patrese. If you remember, before the pit stop, Patrese had a distinct straight line speed advantage, but it will be interesting to see. It would be nice to see Lauda get up on him and at least get a battle for the lead.
There goes Nelson out of Leo Koch, and he's on his way now to complete lap 68. Looks to me as though Niki Lauda gains a little as they come out of the kink. Indeed he does. He's right on the tail of Nelson Piquet. And he comes up alongside and through into second position. On lap 69 now goes Niki Lauda, quite unperturbed. Nelson Piquet stays there. He can actually afford to lose one more place without any worries, although I don't think for a moment he will, because Andrea De Cesaris in the Alfa Romeo in fourth place is some 15 seconds behind. Let's look at it again. There's Patrese, the leader. Behind is Piquet, the blue and white Brabham on the right. Out from behind his giant rear wing comes the Marlboro Tag Turbo of the double world champion, Niki Lauda, to take second position. Piquet holding on, and you see there's a completely clear track behind him. You may... Lauda out on lap 72. Oh, what absolute tragedy for Niki Lauda. He has presumably burst the engine, although one mustn't malign the Tag Turbo. We don't know that was it, but he stopped very quickly, and a very, very saddened Niki Lauda joins the many others that have retired from this race at a time when he might well have finished in first position had he been able to keep going the way he was going, which means to say that Piquet's place is now even more strongly fixed. Well, now here's another little soupçon of fact for you to consider. We know, although I suspect that we weren't supposed to know, that the Brabham team have prepared some special signals to show to this man, Riccardo Patrese, one of which says, "Let pass." Now that could only refer to Nelson Piquet, but I don't think for a moment that signal would be shown to Patrese, because the Brabham team would naturally want to give him the credit of winning the South African Grand Prix after such an awful season, and it would not prevent Nelson Piquet from winning that vital World Championship.
Yes, I think that's the perfect result, and I think Piquet would be, the gentleman that he is, would be extremely pleased to hand the win to Riccardo Patrese and collect the World Championship for himself. That's a deal I'd do any day of the week.
Yes, who wouldn't? And we're soon going to know the answer to it. They're on lap 74, they being the leader there, Riccardo Patrese, the man who has only won one Grand Prix in his career, in his 96th Grand Prix career, and that was at Monaco, and he's well on his way now with Nelson Piquet in second position, with Andrea De Cesaris now in third place, with Derek Warwick up into fourth position, and in fifth position behind Derek Warwick, Eddie Cheever, and in sixth position and in the points despite that pit stop, Kiki Rosberg. Seventh, Sullivan and the leading non-turbo. Eighth, Sura. Ninth, his teammate Boutsen. 10th, Guerrier, and this is great news. In 11th position is young Kenny Atchison, driving in his first Grand Prix. A wonderful boost for the very determined and persevering March team, who have had an awful season, who desperately need sponsorship, who deserve it for their fine turnout, and it looks as though they're going to get a finish, as is Kenny Atchison, and no finish will ever have been deserved more. And I do include Riccardo Patrese in that, as he rounds the clubhouse corner on his way down to the S's on lap 75, then to start his penultimate lap of Kyalami, followed by the 77th and last, and Keke Rosberg, whilst I was talking to you, has passed Eddie Cheever, and in so doing moved up into 5th position, and on lap 75, coming to the end of it now, because here is the race leader completing his 75th lap, starting his 76th and last but one. The order is Riccardo Patrese leading, PK second, De Cesaris third, Warwick fourth, up into 5th position goes Rosberg, down to 6th place goes Eddie Cheever. Correction to the caption, and Keke Rosberg would be delighted about that, not so Eddie Cheever. But Eddie Cheever, it looks as though he's getting a result, and over the line goes Piquet in 3rd position. Nelson Piquet in 3rd position, because De Cesaris has moved ahead of him. So Nelson Piquet is, I'm going to be most interested to talk to Nelson Piquet at the end of this race, which I hope to do, and for you to hear.
The word should be said, we mustn't forget in all the excitement, Andrea De Cesaris has driven probably one of the best races of his career. He's been very steady, he was always there, never far away, and as the Brabham slowed up to conserve their things, he's moved in and taken 2nd place. But what a marvellous driver Nelson Piquet is. From the moment he got into a Formula One car, he looked real class, and that's what he has proved, and even his discipline today is a magnificent effort, and he is certainly a very worthy world champion.
And here is the race leader and the winner taking the flag. Patrese has won for Brabham and for himself, and through his nationality for Italy, and through Brabham for Britain as well. Now we wait for the 2nd place man, Andrea De Cesaris. Look for the distinctive red and white of the Alfa Romeo, and here comes Piquet. Over the line goes the world champion of 1983, Nelson Piquet, pounding the steering wheel of his Brabham BMW with sheer exultation, and rightly so. Victory then for Riccardo Patrese from Andrea De Cesaris, with Nelson Piquet a superb 3rd. Derek Warwick a magnificent 4th place, Keke Rosberg 5th, and Eddie Cheever took that 6th position. Now, in terms of the World Championship, that means, of course, as I've said many times, Nelson Piquet is there, world champion of 1983, with 59 points, beating his friend Alain Prost by 2 points. René Arnoux in 3rd position, Patrick Tambay 4th, Keke Rosberg 5th, and John Watson in 6th position. And in the Constructors' Championship, Ferrari did win, beating Renault, with Brabham in 3rd position and Williams in 4th place. A superb end to the 1983 Grand Prix Series then. A great race and a great day. A day which belongs to the new world champion, Nelson Piquet.
Nelson, first of all, put me out of my misery and tell me what was going on in your mind when people were passing you.
Well, nothing, really. I was with the race in my hands, and I didn't want to... Well, my achievement was not to win the race, it was to win the championship. I had a car to win the race without any problem. I ran away in the beginning, and when a Prost stopped, I started to slow down, ensure the car to finish the race, because I was really to win the championship.
It seems inconceivable that anybody could have such iron will that they will sit there and lose the race.
Well, I didn't want to take a chance to win the race and lose the championship, because I really want to win this championship very, very much. And for everybody, for Brabham to give an opportunity when I was coming from Formula 3, for myself, from everybody around me, that they really worked very hard.
Well, you were second in the World Championship in 1980. You won it in 1981. Last year, you were the team manager's driver of the year. This year, you're world champion again. What is going to happen in 1984?
Look, I'm sure we go start the test in November now for the new car. What the same car, but a lot of modification. I'm sure that I go forget everything in its past. I go try to win the next one, and I go try to work harder than I can.
Nelson, I'm sure you would like to offer a few words of consolation to your friend Alain Prost.
Well, Alan is a very sensible driver, very good driver, I must say. I cannot say I'm not happy because he loses. I'm happy I win the race, but it's difficult to say this. But I'm sorry about him. He did a fantastic year. I think he made maybe one mistake all year. Also, I made one mistake, was an Imola he made in Danville, and I don't think he lost the championship. I think Renault lost the championship.
Well, you are indeed the driver of the year, and we thank you for giving us such wonderful motorsport through the whole of it, and well done.
Thank you.
A very happy Nelson Piquet, and rightly so, at the end of a season which gave us safer racing, more spectacular racing, a giant escalation in worldwide interest, and a lot of outstanding memories.
Rosberg, we got a fire, but they put it out, I think.
There is the win for Nelson Piquet.
And look at Rosberg. He's coming right up alongside. He's going to take Tolbay, and off goes Tolbay. John Watson has won the Long Beach Grand Prix with Niki Lauda second in the second McLaren.
At the moment, I would be too much of a financial drain on the team just for having me in there. I think it's more important that they get the money to develop and test the car to make it competitive, and then get me, you know.
A win at 9 points for the Renault of Alain Prost. Running Arnoux, crossing the line.
No, don't do it now, Nigel. Wait. Oh, he's done it. He's done it. Well done.
If I come back, I will come back with the motivation to win the World Championship. That's my only motivation.
I have a slight fuel leak in the fuel system and in the filter, and I got fire, and I have to stop very quickly.
Turbo power is the only way you can basically win races. So thank God we decided to get the TAC Turbo in our car.
Well, I mean, it's just fantastic. I mean, it's just what the team needed, and it's just what I needed as a person as well.
I've always said that as long as I enjoy driving racing cars and competing in Grand Prix, I will continue to race.
Patrese' engine has blown already on lap 3. Cesaris, who is in 5th position, is catching Tolbay, and off goes the Ferrari and slams into the tyre barrier at Druids. A superb win then for Nelson Piquet, his 3rd of the year.
Anyway, I'm very happy with the championship between me and him because we're very close friends.
And it says 150 Grand Prix, Brands Hatch to John Watson.
Almost got
I've done it again.